Coming up this week on Beyond the Vibe, I'm joined by Phil Conalane of Blackwater Conspiracy and my co-host Aaron Day from the Love and Revolution tour.
I would never call you shit wizard.
I know you wouldn't,
Phil.
To your face. To my face, yeah.
We have no preconceived notions before we go in to record anything. It's kind of like a song is a song. If it's a jazz song, it's a jazz song. If it's a blues song, it's a blues song. If it's a rock song, it's a rock song. If it's a country song, it's a country song. So we just started as $1 Million Reload on a particular show with the $1 Million banner up. Halfway through the show we made the announcement that $1 Million was going to be no more and that we were moving on to a different thing and that we were now going to be Blackwater Conspiracy. We brought the keyboard player out.
Fucking hell, I bet it was an amazing experience.
Well, I didn't know if it was going to work or not,
Yeah,
but we took a chance. Well,
Mate.
the personal experience that blew my mind was actually nothing to do with either band.
Right.
You know, I'm sure you know.
Yeah, you was telling me the story of the barbecue once, yeah.
So, you know, auditioning with ACDC was the biggest thing for me ever.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Vibe, the show that cuts deep into the world of music. Now you might notice that there is something a little bit different this week. Obviously Aaron, my co-host, isn't here. He's currently out on tour with his band, These Wicked Rivers, and they're supporting Blackwater Conspiracy. Now we thought we'd try something a little bit different. We'll be joined very shortly by Aaron and Phil of Blackwater Conspiracy, as they are currently in Blackpool, and when this airs, they'll be on their last show. So this will be interesting. We were joined by Aaron and Phil now.
You alright? What's happened?
It's not fucking open, is it?
Oh no, oh no!
What, the curry place?
The curry place that Sam wanted to go to is closed.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're in disaster zone.
He didn't get it. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not open, but I hope you're fucking happy. I've just snacked 2 pints of chocolate milkshake to calm me down. I'm not joking.
So I'm here with Philip.
Philip.
Philip of Blackwater Conspiracy. We're currently on tour, aren't we, Philip?
Yes, we are.
And how's the tour been, man?
Yeah, it's been great so far, yeah. Barbecue was excellent.
Yeah, we had a barbecue for viewers who didn't know on Wednesday, and Phil got. I didn't have a drink. Phil got a bit Larry, didn't you, Phil?
Really?
Obviously, Jay didn't have a drink either. We both were very sober.
Really? Is that the way we're going to spin this story? Yeah?
You're in my theatre of control.
Is that how we're going to spin this?
I mean, it's probably the best outcome for me.
Okay. Aaron was very sober.
Right. I'm sure he was very well
Didn't
behaved.
get his clothes off at all.
No.
Did I get my clothes off?
Yeah, you did.
Oh shit! Why do I always get my clothes off?
Because we asked you to.
That would be it. That would be why.
We wanted to see your Dumbledore tattoo.
Oh, that'd be why.
And turns out it wasn't Dumbledore, it was Gandalf.
Stop calling it fucking Dumbledore!
Really
Honestly, right, every night of the tour since Artwell told him I had a fucking Gandalf tattoo, I've been being called Dumbledore, mainly by this man. It's a nightmare. Right. Don't call me a shit wizard, man!
I would never call you shit wizard.
I know you wouldn't,
To
Phil.
your face.
To my face, yeah. It's too much
Oh
respect.
dear.
Absolutely.
Right, let's refer to the actual structure of the interview.
Yes, reining it back in. One thing that we like to do on the show is we like to go right back to the origins of a musician. So with that in mind, when was like the first time you remember hearing music and thinking like, this is what I want to do? Was there like a moment for you?
That's a 2-part question. So the first real music that I was aware of was the Stones. My mum was a big fan of the Stones, and she had lots of Stones albums and stuff, and so it was always constantly playing at home on a record player. For you guys who are all too young, that's a thing with a little needle, and it's on like a black disc thing. Me and you is the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vinyls. It was a double vinyl album. That was the first time I become aware of it, and it was just constantly. But the first time I saw music, heard music, I thought, wow, that's cool. And this is so cheesy, but it's because of the age I am, was Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine hit #1 in America. And we had the chart show. There used to be a chart show on in the UK on a Saturday morning. And you had, loads of pop, and then there was this guy with a bandana on and a badass looking guitar player. I was going, wow, that's cool. So that was when I thought I would like to be a musician.
It was the same for me. First time I heard Appetite for Destruction, it was like that picture on the back of them all sat, you know, with fucking bottles everywhere. And I was just like, this.
There had been no one like that up until that point. I was aware who Aerosmith were, but they weren't as badass as that, you know.
Well, what came first? Was it guitar or singing for you?
Well, you see, I was always a bass player.
Right, okay. Fuck, I never knew that.
So started off bass player in heavy metal bands back home in Ireland, and just, you know how it is, band lasts for 3 months when you're a kid, and then you move on to something else. So I was always a bass player for years and years and years, and I was the shittest singer ever. And I remember really, really clearly, I was in a band with my friends. I was about 15 or 16, and we were doing lots of gigs around home, and we were relatively decent. We were, you know, we're getting decent audiences, and I was promoted to the singer at that point, and they said after like one gig, no, you can't sing, you're no good, and they sacked me.
You know.
I was absolutely devastated, gutted. I said,
You're about 15 at this point.
well, I was about 16.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like someone had died in the family. I was that upset about it. I thought, right, I'm gonna fucking have you guys. So then I kind of taught myself how to sing and picked up little bits and pieces as I went along. And then I started getting into successful bands, and then the most successful band was $1 Million back in the day. So when it kicked off, it was, woo, what's going on over there? Sexy time.
I mean, I could turn the camera around, but I think we'll probably get it banned off YouTube. So it's
John is currently naked. Wow, is that all the size?
Beautiful.
Oh, man.
there's Jesus, I can barely see it.
What? What's that over there?
Looks like basically we have an on-joke. Oh, you probably don't know aware of this, Phil. We have an ongoing joke in the band that I've never seen Art with his top off. And I really want to now because I've never seen it.
Well, he saw you with your top off.
No, he's seen me with everything. He's seen a lot. You know, for most people, it's enough in life, you know. But I've never seen him with his top off. So that's why he hides it.
According to, what's your girlfriend's name again?
Jade.
Well, according to Jade, it's quite an impressive sight. Anyway.
Why is Jade seeing him with his top off?
I'm only saying. But anyway, back to the music thing. Yeah, so long and short, I got kicked out of a band, and that just sort of kind of made me want to be. I wanted to prove them wrong more than anything.
I think you definitely proved them wrong. I mean, one of the things, obviously, with piss taken aside, that me and Hartwell and Rich always comment on is how strong your vocals are. I know you're quite self-critical. Like in the early gigs, you were like, "Oh, it's not warmed up yet," but vocally, I think you're massive strong.
Well, so, you know, 9 times out of 10, my voice is close to where it needs to be. But you know, you could hit an off night, and it just won't work properly. But
Yeah, it's a bit different than my role because I think I can, you know.
yeah,
I can just
well,
about-
being a guitar player, you know, you break a string, you change your guitar. That's it, like, you know. But yeah, I'm happy enough where it is at the minute.
So obviously Blackwater going on from $1 Million came together in 2015.
Yeah.
In terms of the journey of the band, you've had quite a lot of different highlights. Is there a particular moment, whether it be a practice or a song you've written or an experience, where you think, bloody hell, this is going to be good and this was the right choice we
Well,
made?
the personal experience that blew my mind was actually nothing to do with either band.
Right.
You know, I'm sure you know.
Yeah, you was telling me the story of the barbecue one. Yeah.
So, you know, auditioning with ACDC was the biggest thing for me ever. You know,
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
No,
Life changing.
Oh, election, they flew me over to Atlanta and for a week and did all that. That was like, you know, that's like, I had posters of Angus Young on my wall when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he's standing next to me saying, okay, do you want to do Black and Black? And I was like, Jesus, you know. But it was great. That was, for me, that was a personal experience. As far as the bands go, you know, there's been so many, you know, great tours. Blackwater Conspiracy doing a European tour with Blackberry Smoke. That was a big deal. Playing with, well, we toured with Joan Shaw.
Did you really get auditioned for DC?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think you told me this story when I was probably obliterating. I can't remember. Just running past it as if we're all like, this isn't a massive thing. Were you
Yeah,
taking the piss?
No. When Brian took sick,
Yeah.
and he had to step away for a while.
So about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was
wasn't
2016. So a week or two after he had to step away, they sent me an email
Bloody hell.
through a third party. Obviously, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they sent it through a third party and asked me would I be interested in coming over, and I was like, well, you know, send me a flight ticket over and I'll go. And within hours, first class ticket to Atlanta, first class hotel, picked up at the airport in a limousine, all the bells and whistles. Like, ACDC really treat you good when you're with them, you know.
Yeah.
So it was great, and I was able to go to a few of the shows and hang out backstage and stuff after, once Axel stepped in to do it. So it was great.
Oh, that's really interesting, man. In terms of Blackwater, is there a particular experience you've had with you and the boys up to this point?
Well, like I say, touring with Joanne Shaw Taylor was great. The tours mostly all the tours, with Chris Sparrows, Blackberry Smoke, and Download a couple of times, things like that were all great. Steelhouse Festival, Ramlaman Festival, touring with you boys is all great.
Yeah, I was about to say, get into it.
Well, again, it's the pinnacle right now.
It's the pinnacle. It won't get better than this, right?
Pinnacle.
Bollocks to Blackberry Smoke. Bollocks to all of that. But no, I mean, I know when we were speaking on Wednesday that the Blackberry tour was quite a big one for you.
It was another life-changing, musical-changing type thing. To see how those guys operated, how they handled themselves, what they did on stage, the little hacks people call them, that get you from A to B without messing up your system, kind of thing. The reason why we use in-ears in every show is because of Blackberry Smoke. They had said, if you want to help yourself, not kill yourselves live on stage with your voice and get a good sound so that you can hear what you're doing properly, get yourselves an in-ear system. So we built a cheap in-ear system, and we use it everywhere. And it absolutely is a life-saving. It's a game changer for us.
I think we'll probably look at it in the next couple of years.
They're really, these days all the little bits and pieces that you need for those are relatively cheap. You could build a decent that you can use anywhere for like 1,500 quid.
Wow.
Easy.
Salmon.
Yeah.
So the most recent album, Two Tales and the Dirty Truth of Love and Revolution, which is of course out now. When you had that collection of songs together and decided, and you walked into the studio, did you have like a certain vibe that you wanted to achieve? And like, if so, how did you go about it?
Well, that's the thing with our band is we have no preconceived notions before we go in to record anything. It's kind of like a song is a song. If it's a jazz song, it's a jazz song. If it's a blues song, it's a blues song. If it's a rock song, it's a rock song. If it's a country song, it's a country song. We don't go in with a vibe. We have our guitar sounds, which is the basis of what we're about. But that's only the backbone of the blueprint to the song. So songs can sound. We don't go in with the way we got to have a southern rock song. We got to sound this way. We just don't do that. We just whatever way the songs are before we get to the studio is most of the time that's the way they turn out on record.
Oh, that's okay.
You know what I mean?
In terms of this compared to the first album, did you have a certain different feel or anything? Like, did you feel a different vibe about the songs?
We felt that it was more of an evolution. It was more of a snapshot of where we were at that particular point. Having picked up little bits and pieces and little bits of inspiration for songwriting and stuff. So your first album is always a collection of songs that you've had for a while. So they get put down. But then from your first album to the second album, let's say it's a year, 2 years, or 18 months or whatever, that's where your next snapshot is. Yep. So, people always talk about the difficult second album, but for us, I don't really look at it. I don't view it in the regard of it's a difficult second album. And those are the bunch of songs we have that we want to record in that particular period of time. So that's where we go, and that's how it works for us. We don't actually, we don't go into the studio and go, right, well, we need to sound this way, or we need to sound like the Rolling Stones, or we need to sound like Aerosmith, or we just don't do that. It's just whatever way the songs turn out, that's the way they turn out.
Cool. And I get that vibe, definitely. And as you say, it's a timeline.
It is. It's a timeline, yeah. Absolutely a timeline. There's a couple of songs on the most recent album that, like for instance, a song on the album called Bird and Coal Mine. And I just felt like it warranted and needed something else other than piano and guitar and the regular thing. So we thought, let's have uilleann pipes on it. Let's have a low D whistle on it. Let's have a violin on it, just to see what the dynamic is. And we tried it and liked it, so we kept it.
I feel like with Blackwater, you've got that kind of creative room a bit more. It can fall into different things. So you can.
Well, we're the same as you guys. You're not really tied down to a particular. We have to have an album out, and you do it at your own pace, your own. When you feel ready to do it, you do it. That's the way we operate. So, and I know a lot of bands do it that way. So, if you're not pressurized, I think you can do better work that way.
Yeah, because you're not constricted. And I think when you try and write songs for a particular reason, they end up falling down because they're not an actual reflection of yourself.
Exactly. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, if you're pressurized into, you know, like if your management, or if you're with a record label, or, you know, whatever it may be, and say, well, we need another 10 songs for the next album, then you're put in that parameter of a timeline.
Yeah.
So you're kind of constricted in your, you know, some songs that, if with a little bit of growth, you know, like for instance, if you have a new song and you might take it out and play it on the road for a few times, and it evolves, you know, you might realize, well, actually it doesn't work that well in this particular way live, so let's rearrange that part. But you only get the opportunity to do that when you're doing live shows. So if you're constricted on a timeline, more often than not, you're not going to get a chance to do that. So it's not going to be the best song. It's not going to be the best the song can be.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I agree. Now, obviously, we said that Blackwater formed in 2015, and you mentioned $1 Million in terms of your own sort of musical timeline. Most people will probably, as well as Blackwater, know you for your time in $1 Million, because obviously it reached quite a high level. You know, they had a lot of great experiences through that.
Yeah.
What was the decision at that point, Phil, for that to change to Blackwater? What things promoted that? You know?
In all honesty, it had run its course. You know, the band had been together for almost 10 years. It had achieved everything for that band was going to achieve. It really couldn't go any higher. You know, it's not because, you know, the songs weren't good enough, because we thought the songs were great, as everyone does. You know, maybe not necessarily. Maybe some opportunities didn't come our way, but that's just the way of the world. It was just time to move on to something else, and that's how we felt. It was time to move into something a little bit more reflective of where we were in our lives at that point. You know, we were younger at that point, and it was all full-on party rock, you know, that kind of thing. But you know, you get a bit older and you're a little bit more retrospective. And the music that we're doing now is more natural to us. Like back in the day when $1 Million we were on that thing, and I just mentioned, we were on parameters, we were on timelines with record labels.
Well, that's what I felt when you was mentioning it. The Blackwater feels like it's just opened up away from all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's just it you know, Blackwater is very chilled in that way. You know, $1 Million wasn't. It was more of a crash bang wallop thing. Yeah. You know, and it was everything that surrounded $1 Million was by the seat of our pants. Yeah. Every single thing. You know, we were with multiple different record labels, and it was always, we want a record now. So we were pushed in and put in a corner kind of thing, where we had to write songs, and maybe necessarily didn't write our best stuff at that point, but again, that's just the way. You know, you can't complain that you were given an opportunity to do stuff that you wanted to do. So in retrospective, we were very lucky, but at the same time, I think Blackwater's a more organic machine, and it feels more natural.
Yeah, that's how it comes across from looking,
you know,
looking outside.
Blackwater's, we're doing it for the fun as well. We're doing it because we want to do it. There's no pressure coming from any quarter. We don't feel any pressure. You know, we're doing this tour because we wanted to do this tour. Yes, it got postponed a few times, but we did it because we want to do it. You know, and we're lucky in the position that we can, you know, have an agent book a few shows for us and stuff like that. So, you know, it's good that way.
How did the fans take it? Because obviously musically it's quite. And I know during that last gig, didn't you change the banner and everything, and like do it halfway through $1 Million gig?
That was Well, it was always planned. And once we had decided that we were going to move on, you know, back home we had a lot of $1 Million fans. Yeah. So we said, right, you know, to save a pile of, you know how it is if a band breaks up, there's always a little bit of a gap of time where there's no explanation of why did the band break up and what happened, did they all fall out and blah blah blah. So we wanted to cut all that stuff away. So we just started as $1 Million Reload on a particular show with the $1 Million banner up. Halfway through the show we made the announcement that $1 Million was going to be no more, and that we were moving on to a different thing, and we were now going to be Blackwater Conspiracy. We brought the keyboard player out.
Okay, I bet it was an amazing experience.
Well, I didn't know if it was going to work or not, but we took a chance, you know. And we had merchandise, the new Blackwater merchandise. We had the new banner, and we just pulled it down and put the $1 Million. The merch people put the merch away and put out the new merch. And so when people come to the show as $1 Million, they left having seen Blackwater.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So it was we think it was a seamless. People still mention it and say, "Oh, what about that gig you did in Belfast where you were one band and then finished as another?" But we just didn't want to get into a whole who said what thing and blah blah blah. And it was essentially it was going to be the same members plus a keyboard player.
Yeah.
So that was it. Really, it was easy. You know.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's a sick way to do it.
It saved a lot of hassle.
Now, of course, you're currently on tour with these Wicked Rivers.
Yeah.
So we have to ask, what do you think of the band? Do you have any favourites in the band? How have they been?
Any favourite members of the band, Phil?
Members of the band.
Favourite members of the band, Phil?
Oh, well, obviously, Aaron is like top bloke. You know,
Top bloke.
top bloke. Obviously, that's a given. You know. No, in all fairness, the fellas have been great. You know, when you have a band on tour, you're always kind of a little bit. Sometimes you have preconceived notions of what they're all about. But I'd already saw them play live anyway, so I knew what they were about. But Rich wasn't really a fixed member at that point.
No, that was his first gig. So Phil came to see us at the Hairy Dog, which was Rich's first kind of trial gig as a keyboard player, which is interesting.
Yeah, and I like their. I know you don't really like the term, but it's to me it's kind of a mixture of southern rock and stoner rock in places. Yeah. So I can dig that. I dig that kind of stuff. So I the reason why they were on tour is because I wanted them to come on tour. So I just said get the Wicked Rivers seated. These Wicked Rivers seated. They want to come. More importantly. Because I thought it would be a good match, and as it turned out, we are a good match. Yeah, even though you guys have a lot of production on stage, but that's all good. They have lots of production, but it's all good. And, everyone seems to be getting on well. There's no idiots among the, except us, obviously. But there's no idiots among your end of the, everyone's very affable and friendly. We all get on, and there's no real problems. So that's good.
Yeah, it's been great, to be fair, right? Just from my end, I think for us, because it was our first tour, I think coming with you boys was probably the best first experience of that. Because
I didn't know this was your first tour. I just assumed that you had toured lots.
No, well, because we'd had one booked to celebrate Eden. We had one booked with Riders Creed, but obviously that got postponed and cancelled.
That's right, yeah.
And then when it came around to the second time round, and the question came up with yourselves, we were the same. We just felt like it was the right fit. Obviously, you boys had been around the block a little bit, and I think we felt that was going to be a good learning experience for us, because if we'd have gone with a band maybe at a similar level, you can end up sort of butting heads a little bit, a similar point of
I didn't really look at it from that point of view. Bands talk about levels and where they're at and stuff like that, but I don't really see much of a difference in levels. I just think maybe we've toured a little bit more, but as far as levels goes, and where you're rated in the pecking order, I don't really think there's much between the bands at all.
No, I appreciate you saying. You're right though, because I feel like with this whole era of Blackwater as well, I don't think that you like, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, but I feel like you don't take that stuff into account anyway, because it's not the reason you're doing it. And if you do take that stuff into account, you end up in this weird sort of argument with yourself all the time.
It's pointless. If you feel a band's it doesn't matter where they are in their journey of what you would term a career type thing. As long as if it's a good fit and you think, well, the audience is going to appreciate both bands, that's the way to go.
Yeah, 100%.
And we knew you would sell a few tickets as well, which is always a bonus. So, and as you've seen yourself, all the shows so far have been pretty well attended.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
So I was happy to, and tonight's going to be super.
I think tonight's going to be, because we're currently in the Waterloo in Blackpool, which is a fucking awesome venue, and we think pretty sure this is probably going to be the biggest one of the tour.
Oh, absolutely! It is sold so well even from the get go, and Ian, the guy that owns the place, when he wanted us to come back again, we knew it was going to do well again, because the previous time we played here, it was like 70% sold out. But you know how it is yourself. Even though 7% doesn't sound sold out, it looked sold out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and they doubled tickets already for this one already.
It's going to be amazing.
So so it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And I know there's a lot of people who's come down to see you guys too, but still, it's still going to be awesome.
Yeah, 100%, man. Now, obviously, we've had a lot of different tour stories. We actually, one of the ones we had was from Massive. Mr. Brad Marr, because he toured with Blackberry Smoke, and it turned out that Blackberry Smoke were accidental prankists, and we thought Blackberry Smoke would be nowhere near that level, and obviously
they are the prankster kings.
That's mad to me. I thought Blackberry would be like the most chilled out band.
They are super chilled out, but they are prankster kings, man. The last show we did with them was in Paris. And it was in Casino Novo. I think it's only like 500-600 people show, but the place was rammed. and we kind of, knew that they were up to something, because the little bags of shit that they were carrying into the dressing room that they hadn't got all turned. It was the last day of the show, and I was talking to Charlie at the bar, and he was telling me about this really lovely guitar he had saw in Paris, but he didn't really want to buy it because it was super expensive, and blah 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 blah. And that was all good, and they did their sound check. We done our sound check. We back to the dressing room, and we come walking out on stage, and they'd blown up condoms. Dozens of them, and taped them everywhere, on the microphones, on the guitars, on the drum kit, on the amps. They were like literally everywhere.
Amazing.
Oh man! And they were like, they were watching our set and they were going, But it was cool, because if a band feels that they're going to do that, they obviously have some kind of
affection. Yeah. Build a relationship.
Yeah. Of course, and so anytime we went on tour, we always pranked the band on the last night.
Yeah, I know. We were chatting about this. Yeah, we were chatting about this.
We speculated, didn't we?
We did, because obviously I saw Rye the day after the barbecue. I amazingly drove myself to Newark after the state that I left your house in, Phil. And we said, I'm worried shitless that the last night in Swansea that the boys are going to. So yeah, we'll be on guard, and we'll record.
Got to be on guard now.
We will not do anything to ruin your show.
No, never.
Wouldn't do that. But there will be pranks, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah,
if you're going to target anyone, and Samboy will back me up on this, do it to Daniel. Because Daniel won't find it funny.
On the drums?
Yeah, because honestly, he won't find it funny, and that'll make it better for all of us. Because he's that kind of guy.
Because he's super professional, and he just kind of...
Yeah, I think he's just... I don't know how to put it.
So drawing a big cock on his skin and a snare skin's not going to be appreciated?
I don't know, I think you'd be alright with that, because we could sell it. We could just sell it and get all it. So I think you'd be alright with that. I mean, it's just Dan's probably the most...
Well, what I've saw done before, lots of times, I'm sure you saw this, after you've done your sound check, we could go and put a little bit of talcum powder on his cymbals. So the first time he hits it,
oh, that'd be amazing.
It just goes everywhere. It doesn't change the sound or anything, but it's just like, he'd be going, oh, you fucking... one of them ones.
I can't wait. Now I've set the stone that we're on about pranking Dan last night at the tour. I'm definitely the best person to pick, innit? Yeah, 100% in agreement.
You're not getting away with it.
No, I get away. I'm involved now, aren't I? So it's a bit different, isn't
it?
Yeah. Now we like to throw some strange questions at artists. So hypothetically, for Blackwater Conspiracy's next album, you've got a gun to your head. You've been told that you have to do another genre. What would that genre be?
Ooh.
It's in your control, Phil.
If it was in my control?
Oh, your control.
Yes.
Band have all got to say yes.
Americana.
Americana.
/ country.
See, that would work though with the Blackwater, wouldn't it?
I know it would. I'm strongly contemplating.
Do you think you're one album away from that, or do you reckon you need to kind of... What would the rest of the band take to the whole Americana thing?
I don't really know. It's back to the thing I say. If a song happened to be an Americana song, then it would be an Americana song, and that's it.
And if an album happens to be an Americana album,
well, then that's how it is.
It's all because it's mainly writers-wise. It's you and Brian, isn't it?
Yeah. Most of the time, yes.
Do you think Brian would be on board?
Brian would be on board. Brian is in the mindset that if a song sounds good, he does not care what genre it is. Yeah. If it's a good song, that's how it is.
Yeah, and I like that mindset. I think that's a good way to be.
If you come in a song that Slayer might have written, if it's a good song, Brian will want to record it. He genuinely, he's all about the song craft and the song. Awesome. It's a body of work for him.
Have you started writing new material?
Absolutely not. No. We'll get to the end of the tour first, and then we'll see where we're at. And then, we'll definitely start writing songs pretty quickly after that, I would imagine.
Cool. So everyone keep an eye out and ears out for the Slayer inspiration in Blackwater. Yeah, Slayer tribute album done in Americana.
Yes.
Country.
Yes.
I saw it, set that in stone. We asked this question, Phil, but I get the feeling with yourself it's one of them where you kind of allow the natural progression of the band to flow. But where do you see the band in 10 years, or where would you want to see the band in 10 years? Like, do you see the band having that kind of lifespan? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know. I never really thought about it, to be fair.
Do you, in terms of you, because do you plan for the band in terms of on a yearly basis, or do you look forward to that? Cause
well, we definitely look forward, but we don't really plan more than 18 months in advance.
Okay.
Realistically. So, if you want to take this as a situation, within the next 18 months, we would like to have another album recorded and out in the market.
Yeah.
And that and another couple of tours planned.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Just take it year by year.
As it comes. But as far as in 10 years, who knows?
Cool. cool. Is there any personal targets for you? Or are you quite happy just to kind of just?
No, I'm quite happy.
Yeah.
Quite happy.
I get that vibe from you, man. And I think I take a lot of inspiration from
Yeah,
that.
I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm competing with anything or anyone or anybody or any targets. You know, whatever happens, happens.
No,
you know?
I vibe off that. I think that's cool.
So when this interview airs, it'll be the last day of the tour. So for folks that haven't seen you guys on a gig yet or anything like that, what have you got planned? Like any other tours or things for the rest of the year or next year?
Well, we're in the same boat as everyone else. We have to see how this whole pandemic thing pans out, where it's going to get less or it's going to get worse, and so we don't really know. You can't really plan at this point. No one can really plan too far in advance. You know, a lot of things have been planned for 2022 with other bands, but you know, are they going to happen? Will they happen? Who knows? So
you don't want to play with other bands.
we have to see what other
Just continuous tours with, and if not, Rich Wilson's solo
It's
project.
forever.
Well, we'll see how it goes. You know, at this point, we haven't anything solid planned, as in it's nailed down. Nothing.
I think by the time this airs, which will be next Saturday, we'll have the Swansea gig tonight, and then you boys got some dates in Ireland as well.
Yeah, we have dates in Ireland and at the end of October, but again,
It's all dependent.
yeah, it's all dependent on the restrictions and what's happening, and there's been a little bit of an upsurge in COVID at home at the moment, so we got to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I think we've done well to just be able to play to the dates we have.
Yeah, I think we've been very lucky. You know, bar there was one show that had to get postponed, but that was, you know, there was nothing none of us could do about that. It was just a COVID thing, and that's it. You know,
Just have to be thankful that we've played the ones we have.
I think we're all pretty happy we've got this far into the tour. You know, we're into the second tonight. I think it's maybe the end of the first half. So starting tomorrow night will be the second half of the tour, and we can just get as far into it, and hopefully, touch wood, we get to the end of the tour.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, with everyone being healthy and fit, and no one else being sick and stuff, it'll be great.
Now, a question that we like to finish the show on. Again, another hypothetical one. If you could tour with one band from the past and one band from the present, who would they be?
One band from the past and one from the present. Well, that's a question that's kind of like you can cover with one band.
It's up to you if you want to. I mean, you've got.
If there was a band I could tour with from the past and a band that I could tour with in the future, it would be the Stones.
Stones. Would you prefer to tour with the modern era of the Stones or the kind of
as long as Keith and Mick are there and Ronnie, I'm happy. Obviously Charlie's not there anymore, and in a perfect world Charlie would be there, but he, you know, God rest, he's gone now. So, but it would be the Stones, I'd imagine, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Would that...
Brian, some of the guys in the band, Brian might choose early Aerosmith, possibly.
Could you reckon you could guess what the other band members would pick, and then?
Yeah, I think I could. I think Brian would probably go with early Aerosmith, and maybe the Black Crowes at their height, you know, maybe.
Good mix.
You know.
What about Kieran?
Key, I would say he would say the Stones also. I'm not so sure what he would say for the future, but I'm pretty sure he would say the Stones. He might say early Thin Lizzy, to be fair.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. What about Finn?
Well, see, now you're getting.
What's Finn's interest? Because Finn's a booky dude, isn't he?
Finn's vibe is, you know, if Finn was sitting here now, he probably would go, I would need a little bit of time to think about that, because Finn, his genre of music is really not what you would think it is. You know, he's heavily into Tool and Mars Volta and bands like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, yeah. You know, and his style of playing when he plays in Blackwater, you wouldn't really get that vibe from him, but that's what he listens to. So if he was to pick bands that he would want to tour with, I'm not so sure. Yeah. I think he might say he'd like to tour with Blackberry Smoke again, because he really enjoyed that one. Yeah. So he might say that.
Obviously, Aaron, the keyboard player, is 12 years old, so it'd be S Club 7.
It would be S Club 7 and probably Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
like that,
just stuff that you listen to when you're a kid.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
He says if his mum's watching, if you could send him some money, that'd be great. Fantastic. Right, yeah, he's already used. We've took all of his dinner money. Bullied it out of the little bastard. Obviously, as we said, like, because I've got a Gandalf tattoo, I get Dumbledore, and Aaron gets Harry Potter.
He gets Harry Potter a lot.
Yeah.
And, because he's got diabetes, we call him the pancreas thief as well.
That's the new one. I can't wait to see how he reacts when I shout that.
Well, he'll just shout Dumbledore back to you.
Yeah, I know, it's standard rotation at this point. Right, thanks ever so much for chatting.
Thanks, Aaron.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Enjoy the tour.
That's cool. Yes, so that was Phil of Blackwater Conspiracy, joined by Aaron in person there. I thought it was a really good, interesting thing. I mean, the way he just casually unveiled that he auditioned for ACDC back in 2016. I mean, where do you get where do you pull that from? It's crazy story there. But I love the way he's like so relaxed and chilled about where the band are going and the style that they do. You know, they don't box themselves into any certain genre. They kind of just take it a song where they feel it is going. So I really admire him for that. They're not pressured into just bringing out an album for the sake of it either. It's just really interesting, and I think Aaron spoke very highly of the band while he's been out on tour. Really cool guys, really cool people, and I hopefully they'll be able to continue to keep touring and throughout the rest of this year and next year. If you like what we're doing, you can like and subscribe, of course. And you can follow us on Facebook, where every Wednesday from 10 a.m. we release a teaser trailer revealing what guest we have on the podcast. And of course, the podcast itself is out every Saturday from 10 a.m. And if that's not enough, we also do extra vibes occasionally on a Thursday, where that could be any topic. That could be top 10 best new rock vocalists. It could be top 10 best new guitarists. Top 10 best albums of the last decade. It could be anything. So like and subscribe. And we will see you next week.